Hello everybody, welcome back to Fifield Junction, and today I've got another review for you. Today, as we can see, we've got another of the Bachmann Class 37 twin packs for us today. And it wasn't too long ago that I looked at one of these, obviously not this particular one, but not too long ago that I looked at another of the twin packs, Class 37 twin packs that is, that Bachmann did quite some time ago now. I looked at, it was the Transrail and the Mainline twin pack that Bachmann did. Not too long ago, so if you want to go and check that video out, then feel free to. But we've got another one today, and this particular one, as we can see, hopefully probably a bit more interesting than the other one, but then again, that'll be up to you. We can see that today's pack, we've got 37501 Teesside Steel Master and 37502 British Steel Teesside. So it's a -5 twin pack, this particular one, and I believe this one is slightly older than the other pack that I looked at. The other pack that I looked at, again, the Transrail and Mainline one, I believe that one was from around 2010, 2011. I think it was 2011, it said on the box or the certificate somewhere that particular pack was from. However, this particular pack is a bit older. If I remember correctly, on the inside of the box, when I had these out, just check that they're okay. I believe this particular pack was from 2009, I believe. So I believe probably near enough right around when Bachmann probably released this particular tooling of the Class 37. Because if we look on the other box, we will quickly see a bit more information about this particular pack. So the model code for this particular one, if you want it, it's 32-381T. So Class 37-5 British Steel and Blue Teesside Steel Master 37501, and Class 37-5 Railfreight Red Stripe British Steel Steel Master British Steel Teesside. There we go, pretty much got there. 37502, and this particular pack was produced exclusively for Rail Express. Both locos are 21-pin DCC ready, which is good. But going on a bit more into that, I believe this was pretty much right around the time when Bachmann started releasing the 21-pin version of their Class 37. And I could be wrong about that, so they might have started doing it a bit earlier. But I believe it was probably around this time, roughly, when Bachmann started releasing this newer tooling of their 37s, obviously when they upgraded it and retoored it from their old 8-pin version. I believe this was pretty much right at the start, and again, we'll see in a minute a reason why I think that. Again, I could be wrong, but again, we'll see later. So quite an old pack, obviously 2009, it's basically 15 years old now, this pack. So definitely not brand new anymore, and certainly not the most common of items to get as well. They do come up every now and then, but I would say among all of the Class 37 twin packs that Bachmann have done, because they have done a few of these, but I'd say out of all of them, this particular one is definitely one of the rarest. Maybe not the rarest, but I believe it definitely is up there, maybe probably around second place or something like that. Certainly not the most common one. And because of that, these can go for a fair bit of money. This particular pack, I actually was quite lucky. I managed to grab from Model Rail Scotland around a couple of weeks ago now. When I'm filming this anyway, Model Rail Scotland was a couple of weeks ago, and I went on this Saturday and I managed to pick this pack up from one of the stands there, which is quite lucky. But obviously it wasn't cheap. The price paid was approximately £300, so very, very expensive. However, definitely pretty much going to be worth it, I believe. Obviously it's not going to be the best value in the world, again, with how old these are. Certainly not going to be as good a value overall compared to some new models. It's basically £150 each per loco there, which I do think is probably ever so slightly pricey for one of these, but certainly not too bad. Definitely not the worst value, I think. But yeah, it's again being quite rare, probably being a bit of a collector's piece, maybe even. This particular pack, it does make it worth it to an extent, I suppose. And it obviously is quite unusual because obviously this loco was the only one to get this livery. I'm pretty sure no other locos received this livery. If you're not familiar with 37501, it was repainted into this livery and named, I believe it was in 1987 when they overhauled it. It received a major overhaul. They repainted it into this livery and named it and did a few other bits. Then in 1995 it was rebuilt and reclassified to 37601, and I believe then it was repainted into the triple grey sort of livery. I believe it was just like sort of a plain triple grey livery that someone received, and it was used on a lot of the, I think, like the Eurostar drags at the time as well. Dragging those about and stuff, so it was one of those, I think, a select few that could do that. And then later on in, when was it? I believe it was what year was it? I think it might have been quite later on, but I think then DRS got hold of this loco, or they might have even owned it then, I'm not too sure. But the loco is still with us today, 37501, well it's 601 now. The loco is still going, I believe, under Rail Operations Group in their Euro Phoenix livery. And 502, I believe, is also still with us as well, because this received similar treatment. This one was renumbered to 602. And this one, as far as I know, probably not now because they got rid of them, but last I know it was with DRS as well as one of their, it had like the Y-pack headlights and stuff like that, I believe. So as far as I know, 602 still exists as well. Not too sure exactly where it is, but as far as I know, it hasn't been disposed of yet. It is still here somewhere, but again, not too sure where. So, but yeah, as far as I know, well, definitely the 601 still going, and 602 definitely still here somewhere. So both locos are still with us as far as we know, but how much longer are they going to be with us for, we obviously don't know. But at least we've got this pack, I suppose. That's the main thing. So might as well open it up and have a look. We've been rambling on long enough about it in real life, so we need to talk a bit more about the model. So again, quite old, 2009, so definitely not going to be box fresh. But they do look to be in pretty good condition, which is nice. Obviously, they're not the oldest things in the world, so we should be okay. I don't believe we've got all of the paperwork here. I believe it literally just is these Collector Club bit there, which we're not too interested in. And then we've just got the certificate here, which is quite nice. It's a very nice certificate, so definitely not as big as the one that I got with the other twin pack that I got, but still very nice. Got some nice photos there of the real things. And we've got a bit of a nice signature there as well, but it's certainly not too bad. You can put that on the wall if you want to, so that's good. But apart from that, no other paperwork came with the pack when I got it, so we've got no instructions or anything for the locos, but that's fine for me because I know these 37s inside out. Obviously, if you're at home, you might not, but if you aren't familiar with these, they're not too bad. You've got a nice big motor in the centre, twin flywheels, all-wheel drive, all-wheel pickup, again 21-pin sockets to chip them, 6 screws holding the body on, 2 at each end, and then 1 around the middle, sort of on each side around the fuel tanks. All lighting package, basically as you'd expect, so head and tail lights, cab lights, basically what you'd expect from a loco around this time, pretty much. So we'll put 502 to one side, and we might as well start with 501. I think that would definitely be the better one to start off with. So if we just slide her out, so we'll get her out of the box. There we go, should be nice and easy. So we've got the nice block of ice packaging here, so we'll slide off this sleeve. There we go, put that to one side. And we've got some detailing here, which is good, so I'll have a quick look at this. So first things first is nameplates, and I believe these are the nameplates for both locos. Yes, they are, so you can see there. Got nice etched nameplates there for 501, so we can fit those, which I'll definitely do at a later date. Oh, whoops. And then we've also got the nameplates there for 502, which is good. And they're very nicely done, nicely painted, all nicely made as well. So that's good, very, very nice. And then we've also got some detailing here, which I believe is just the typical detailing pack for the 37. Yes, it is. Although it is the older style sort of detailing pack, if you like. Especially with the snow plows, we can see there. Normally with these 37s, we're used to having basically one piece snow plow that fits into the socket. However, on this one, we can see it's the 3-piece snow plow. So if you want to, you can fit these 2 side plows to one end. Off the other end, you can fit all 3 if you want to. But at least, even if you fit a coupling to one end, you can still have some of the snow plow detail on that end, which is good. I don't think you can do it anymore. Certainly Bachmann's latest 37s, I believe, don't even have this feature. So it's nice that we've got this. It gives you a bit of option. And then we've got the other usual details as well. It's got some hoses, we've also got some chain link couplings as well. We can try and separate them out a bit. Yes, we have got proper working screw link couplings, so that's good. Nice amount of detail. Obviously, definitely better these days to get a bit more detail, and it's probably a bit more correctly molded. Well, I say correctly molded, probably a bit more to scale if you like, because these are quite chunky moldings to an extent. But still, certainly not too bad. Some nice detail there you can add, and I'll definitely add that in the future. But we'll put those back in there for now, just to make sure we don't lose them. So let's get the loco out. We'll lift this up, then we'll lift her out, and then we'll put the packaging to one side. There we go, put that to one side, get out of the way, and then we can have a look at the loco itself. So here we are, and as we can see, it's definitely not too bad, is it? It's basically, well, I say as you'd expect, your typical Bachmann 37 from around this time, and certainly from sort of later years. Not too bad at all. There is a bit of oil there on the bogies. I did try and clean it off when I first got these. I did obviously open them up. I took them out, just gave them a quick run, gave them to make sure they're okay. A bit of TLC. They probably haven't been ran for a while, but it's just probably that oil. Just recollecting a bit on the bogies. That's fine. I can wipe that off. Not too bad at all. But yeah, overall, as we can see, it's definitely not too bad, is it? Obviously, it's not as good as the latest 37s from Bachmann and from the likes of Scale as well. I know I've said this a lot because I have looked at so many 37s now. I probably really need to stop looking at them for a while, I think, because I've done so many of them. But yeah, it's certainly not too bad, is it? It's a very nice livery application, and it's very unusual as well to think. Well, obviously, it's not a livery that you would have seen much, being that this was the only loco that ever received this livery. But it's still very, very nice. Got a nice driver in the cab, which is good, so you don't get that anymore from Bachmann either, so it's nice that we've got that as well. The roof detail is not too bad. Again, you've got the typical moulded fan there underneath, and the usual sort of moulded details on the roof as well. Got all the riveting there. You can see the exhaust, all the panelling. It's definitely not too bad. The buffers are sprung at both ends, which is good. Again, you've got the lighting package that you'd expect. You've got some nice headlights there, and you've got the taillights as well. The cab detail, it's not too bad on these. I wouldn't say it's the best in the world. Might be a bit easier looking at this end. As you can see, it's not too bad. We have got some painted details in there. Obviously, locos these days are better. You've got more painted detail. Some locos, you've even got some lighting in there, or the dials light up, especially on Akira scale locos. They're known for that. But yeah, overall, it's not too bad. However, there was one major difference, is one major difference with these compared to basically what I'd say, well, pretty much every other 21-pin Bachmann 37 from this time, and well, I suppose right up to when they stopped producing these as well. And that's the underneath, because if we flip it upside down, as you can see, there's no switches underneath. For those of you that are familiar with Bachmann 37s, certainly with these toolings, when Bachmann did their 21-pin tooling, and obviously they did it for a while, but obviously basically every model that they did, you had switches on the bottom for the tail lights and the cab lights, I believe it was. So you could set them, if you're running on analog, it gives you a bit more control of the lighting, and you could set them so when the loco is running, you could have the cab lights off, or you could have the tail lights off, or vice versa. However, on these, you haven't got any at all, which is why I believe that these were basically right at the start when Bachmann started doing these 21-pin toolings. I'm guessing when they first did, well, I suppose the first batch that they did, obviously it wouldn't just been these particular two, but there have been a few different variations, a few releases when they first did these. They obviously didn't include them at all, but then maybe, I'm guessing, on the next batch, when they did another release of the 21-pin tooling, and obviously there have been more liveries, I suppose, a bit more variation, they updated the tooling again, and that's when they added the switches, and so on. I could be wrong, but I do believe that's probably the case, because, well, it did surprise me a bit when I first saw that there were no switches underneath on these. Definitely a bit of an unusual thing. But another thing as well is that these locos also have opening doors, as you can see there. Another feature that most Bachmann locos didn't have, but Bachmann's 37s from this time did. I don't know why they got rid of it, because they work quite well. They look pretty good, and they do work, which is nice. But again, also on later releases, when they added those switches, they got rid of the opening doors. So yeah, quite strange, to be honest. They added one feature, got rid of another. Bit weird, but that's that, I suppose. But yeah, with all that aside, all things considered, definitely a very nice loco. I'm sure you can agree. She looks beautiful. It definitely has some flashy features. Well, I say flashy features. It basically has what you'd expect from a loco like this. Certainly not too bad at all. The pickups do show through a bit, but well, that's just how they're designed. It's how these 37s are. But overall, certainly not too bad. She looks good. Definitely nice and weighty as well. Plenty of weight there. So definitely overall, not too bad at all. So we'll put her to one side quickly, and we'll have a quick look at 502. Definitely won't go into much detail in this video, I think, as I did with the other pack, because apart from the livery and, well, I suppose the lack of switches underneath and stuff, It's basically exactly the same. There's not overly massive difference with these compared to the other twin pack. So detailing pack on 502, I believe it's just exactly the same as on 501. Yes it is, you can see there. Still the same usual ploughs, usual hoses and everything. So that's good. Again, I'll fit some of that to later dates, I'm sure. So a quick look at this one. It's not going to be massively different to 501. It's mainly just going to be delivery that will be different. So again, just put that to one side. There we go. And then we'll have a quick look at 502. And there we go. So yeah, as we can see, just as good. Again, beautiful livery application. All of the colours look very, very nice. You've got the nameplates there. Again, you've got the opening doors as well. Again, they feel very, very good. You've got the driver. Got the typical, again, grille on the top with the fan. All the usual moulded detail on the roof. Again, looks very, very good. Weight-wise, again, just as good. Still nice and weighty, so definitely be able to haul your trains that you want to haul. Although most of the time you'll probably be double heading these, because these two in real life did spend quite a lot of time together double heading on steel trains and stuff, so you should be able to get some nice long rakes of wagons behind these two. Again, sprung buffers, that one's a little bit stiff there. Got the NEM couplings as you'd expect, which are very, very good. You can see that again, pickups which are there. Frame detailing, obviously not too bad. Obviously it is a bit more basic than on the newer releases, on newer models. But yeah, overall, definitely not too bad. A very nice pair of 37s. Both look very, very good. So I think all we need to do now is take both locos up to the layout, put them on the track, and see how they run. Okay, so here we are, back up at the layout once again. So I think we'll do 37501 first. I think that'll make the most sense. So let's just get all of our wheels on. Quite hot to get on, but should be okay. That's one bogey. Get the other one on. There we go. I think that's all wheels on. Just double check. Yeah, we are good to go. So that's all good. So obviously still DC at the moment. So there's no decoder in either loco yet. So we'll be seeing the performance on the typical train set Hallmark controller. So yeah, not the best controller in the world, I know. But it does the job for the little amount of running I do on analog, so I have to deal with that. So direction is set, so that's all that's left to do is give us some power and see what happens. So let's give it a quick wiggle first before we get it going properly and see what happens. Yeah, it's not too bad. A bit noisy. She doesn't sound the healthiest in the world, but again, she's getting on a bit now. She probably hasn't ran properly for quite a long time. I did give both locos a running in when I first got them, but that was, well, probably that wasn't long after the show, so it's definitely been over a week now since they've run, and it's been quite cold up here, so they definitely could use a bit of warming up. So we'll get it going around the layout, so we'll get it warmed up and see what she's like. So take it away, 37501. So there we go, she's running quite well. Nice and smooth, nice and consistent, so she's not struggling, there's no horrible noises. So yeah, overall not too bad. I do think she could be a tiny bit better. Maybe that's just me being a bit picky. But overall, definitely not the worst performer in the world. Still very good, still very smooth. Can't really complain, to be honest. Okay, so she's just coming around the corner. There we go, so let's bring her to a stop. There we go, not too bad. Bring her back a bit. So yeah, overall, certainly not too bad. Maybe a tiny bit iffy here and there, but overall, definitely not a bad runner. She's running rather well, certainly nothing major wrong with her. So yeah, overall, can't really complain. So we'll take her off for the moment, and we'll grab 37502. We'll get her on, and we'll give her the same treatment. So again, just make sure all wheels are on. There we go, I believe we're all good. Just double check again to make sure. Yeah, all seems good there. So, Okay, again, we'll give her a quick wiggle first to see what she's like. So let's see what she's like at the moment. Yeah, overall not too bad. I'd say just well, about the same to be honest as 501. Certainly not too bad. Again, maybe a tiny bit iffy here and there, but yeah, overall she's certainly not too bad. She's still running quite well. Definitely no major noises or anything obviously wrong. So yeah, let's get her running, get her warmed up, see what she's like. So yeah, overall, I think just like 501, she's running rather well. Definitely can't complain too much, I think. You have to ignore the cab lights flickering. Again, it's just how the camera picks them up. I have tried to sort it, but nothing seems to work, so we'll have to deal with it for now. But yeah, overall, certainly not too bad. Both locos running rather well. Maybe 502 is a tiny bit slower. They are on the same power setting on the controller, but it could just be me. I think she is speeding up a tiny bit as she runs. But yeah, not too bad. Both locos look very good and they both run rather well as well. So overall there isn't really too much to complain about, I think, with these. But I think what we need to do is we'll stop her, get a 501 back on and get them going around together. I think that's definitely what we want to see, isn't it? Yeah, definitely. Okay, so again, just come around the corner. There we go, so we'll bring her to a stop. There we go. So I think we'll reverse her back a bit. And we'll get 501 back on. There we go, that should be far enough. So let's grab 501, get her back on the track, get her wheels back on. I think we're there, yes we are. Just slide 502 back forwards, couple them together, there we go. So there we are, that's both locos coupled together, even though you can't really see them, quite smooth camera a bit. There we go, that's both locos. There we go, so yeah, as we can see, definitely a very beautiful pair of locos, both very presentable, and both running rather well. So I think all we need to do now, get them both running together, and see how they perform as a double header. So obviously this is how they would have run most of the time in real life. So let's see how they run together. Hopefully they won't derail, I'm sure they'll be fine. So 37501, 37502, take it away. Yeah, just look at that. Absolutely beautiful. Just like the other twin pack I looked at, a beautiful pair of locos. The other two are literally just here. There you go, that's the other two that I looked at last time. And now we've got another pair to join them. Yeah, absolutely beautiful. A beautiful pair of 37s. A beautiful pair of locos in general. If you want this pack, I definitely recommend you get it if you can. If it fits your layout, if it fits your era, and you can afford it, and you can find it, I definitely recommend getting it. Obviously, it definitely won't be your cheapest investments. They definitely aren't the least expensive locos on the planet, but certainly not the most expensive either. We can certainly buy these, I'd say you could probably easily buy these cheaper together than some locos on their own these days, brand new. Which certainly says something, I think. But yeah, absolutely beautiful. Beautiful locos, beautiful runners. I think it'd be awesome if someone were to bring these back, whether it was Bachmann or a Cura scale, if they released one of these in a later batch with the latest toolings that we have. I think that would be awesome. But yeah, absolutely stunning. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. And now let's have some ratings for the Bachmann Railfreight Class 37-5 twin pack. So the diesel on these two locomotives, overall there isn't really too much to complain about, I think. Obviously these aren't quite as good as the latest tooling from Bachmann or even like the Cura scale, so they have been marked down ever so slightly, because obviously the diesel on those it just isn't on these certainly isn't quite as good as newer models that we get today. However, despite their age, despite that they came out in 2009, still very, very good, I think. You've got plenty of detail all over the place, all down the body, on the underframe, on the roof. There's something that catches your eye, and it definitely captures the overall look of the locos very well, and both are very well decorated as well, and plenty of features, I think, to keep you going with the lights and all of the sorts. Certainly not too much to complain about, I think. The performance on the locos as well, certainly can't really mark it down too much. Both locos ran very well. There isn't really too much that I think that really stops you enjoying these. I do think though that both locos, they are a tiny bit noisy. Obviously that could just be me being picky, it could just be these particular two examples. However, definitely I think quite not the best runners in the world, certainly maybe not quite as good as some other 37s that I have from around this time, or even slightly later than this. However, apart from that, both locos are still very good performers. Definitely not going to see any major issues from these, certainly not too bad at all. The quality of the locos, I definitely can't really fault it. Both locos are very well built, both locos are very well decorated, plenty of features, both very heavy as well. They feel quality, there's nothing that feels like it's going to break off. Overall, definitely nothing to complain about here. Again, some of you may disagree, maybe I have been very generous there, which yes, I suppose in a way maybe I have. However, personally for me, I don't think there's really much quality-wise that really stops you from buying these. Again, very well built, very well decorated. I certainly can't complain about them at all. The value for money was a bit of a difficult one for these. A bit like the other twin pack that I looked at from Bachmann, I have taken into consideration both sort of the rarity of this pack in general, but also taken into consideration just the general Bachmann 37 that these are into consideration, because obviously the price that I paid of £300 for these two locos does seem very high, and certainly for the tooling that they are, I would say that even for two of them that does seem a bit much, which is why I've marked the score down a little bit. However, being that the pack this is, it's a special edition pack, it is quite old now and it's not the easiest to get hold of. I think the price that I paid is maybe about right, maybe even to some extent a bit of a bargain, because I have seen these go for more than this. So yeah, a bit of an interesting score to sort of work out. So I've given it 8 out of 10, maybe a bit of a balance. If this was just a general release, then I would have marked it down. But maybe if it was even more special, maybe I might have given it more. I'm not too sure really. But overall, yeah, not the worst value for money, I think, with this. Again, being a special edition pack, not the worst value I think I've ever paid for a model. So that's an overall score of 9 out of 10, very well deserving, I think. Still might be a bit generous, and obviously again, if you disagree, then that's fine. But certainly for me, I don't think this is too bad of a pack. Both a very nice pair of locos, very welcome addition to the collection.